going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank, and this is my serious duck. All right, had to bust out the serious duck because I just came to a revelation. All right, first of all, let's take a look at the duck. Let's take a look at the duck. It's a beautiful duck. It's green, white, black. It's a very serious duck. This duck's serious. All right, look at that. All right. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of Nigerians. I'm going to speak on Nigerians because there's a lot of Nigerians where I come from, the DMV. I grew up with Nigerians my whole life. Worked with them, went to school with them. They were my best friends. I grew up with them, right? Now, if you look on the internet, a lot of Nigerians are now talking about, second generation Nigerians are now talking about losing their culture, right? You'll see where I'm going with this. Losing their culture as they live in America. Some of them understand their language, but they don't speak it. Some of them can't read it. Some of them can't write it. Some of them don't even understand it. Some of them don't have connections to their family members. Some of them don't want to have connections to their family members. A lot of Nigerians actually talk shit about Nigeria. The most people who talk shit about Nigeria are other Nigerians who hate Nigeria for some reason, right? So I just want you to think about that. Think about that, right? Think about the difficulties you have as a second generation Nigerian or third generation Nigerian. Maybe you haven't even been in Nigeria, right? And you still believe all the stereotypes that other people, have either been in Nigeria and told you, or they also never been to Nigeria and told you, right? And how frustrating it is for you to be in America or the UK and be losing your culture as you stand there noticing that it happens, right? Now, with all of that being said, I want you to think about African Americans who are 80% Nigerian. Because the Africans that came from Nigeria, the Africans that came to America, right, were the latest Africans in the transatlantic slave trade. First we hit Jamaica, then we hit from Jamaica. They broke us in Jamaica, then brought us to the Americas on them plantations. Jamaicans and African Americans are the same bloodline. We was on the same ships. We got off the same ship together. We got back on the ship together. Some African Americans were taken from African slaves, were taken from America to Jamaica and back and forth during the intercontinental American slave trade after the transatlantic slave trade stopped, right? But I want you to think about this. So if your second generation, just the second generation, you guys already losing your culture, losing your language, losing traditions, losing all those things. I want you to think about how you think it was when the first Nigerians, and the reason why I'm saying Nigeria for argument's sake, the first West Africans from the region that we now call Nigeria, how do you think it was for them when they came over here, right? And unlike you guys, they were slaves. So you guys are coming over here, right? You coming with your culture. Nobody's trying to take it away from you. This just the natural culture of America itself is taking the culture away from you. So imagine being brought over here under duress as a slave from that same area, from the same tribes, from the same Yoruba, Igbo tribes of Nigeria, from the same 1,000 tribes that's in Nigeria that I cannot name. Imagine that. Imagine their first generation, the second generation. You think they was even thinking about maintaining their culture? They was trying to survive. So I want y'all to take that in consideration because you now see and feel that you guys lose your culture immediately when you come to America because you're now in America where you are susceptible to American culture because culture changes. Culture changes. That's one thing. Culture is constantly changing. And when you come to America, you get inundated with American culture. So what do you think them first Nigerians that was brought over here in slave ships, them first Nigerians who were made to work on them plantations until they died, them first Nigerians who came over here and couldn't even speak their language because it was against the law, because it was get beat, whipped, and killed. Them first Nigerians that came to America and dared to do anything resembling Nigerian culture would get beat, whipped, tarred, and feathered, and murdered, and castrated for even attempting to do that. And you guys, y'all can do it if you want. You just lose it because it's something that naturally happens. So I want you guys to remember that. When some of you were talking trash about African Americans, all right, and us losing our culture, not knowing our culture, we got an excuse. We got a legitimate excuse. Now, what is your excuse? For all of those who talk shit, I want you to think about that. And take that in consideration when you're talking trash to an African American, you Nigerians. Take that in consideration because you know what it's like to lose your culture, but you don't know what it's like to have your culture taken from you. Okay? It's a difference, but the results are the same. Think about that. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank and Serious Duck. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.